Hey knitters, welcome to episode 216 of the Knitty McPurly podcast. I'm your host, Devin AT. You can find me at KnittyMcPurly.com. I am Knitty McPurly on Instagram, and if you want to email me, I'm Devin at KnittyMcPurly.com. All that stuff is in the description box. If you want to look there, you can also hit the subscribe button and the little bell, and Instagram will let you know when my podcast goes up on Saturday, as it does. It's so good to be here. The weather has been so nice. It is getting so nice, you guys. I love it. You might notice I'm using a new microphone today, so hopefully the sound is even better than it normally is, hopefully. Let me know what you think of the sound. Anyway, my life has been crazy for the past few days. I'll share some of that drama with you at the end of the podcast if you want to hear some of that drama. And today I'm wearing my sweater that I made in 2019 when I didn't really use a pattern. I just kind of threw it together. But you know what? In retrospect, it's very much like a combination between Go Lightly and Hepburn, because it has the puffy sleeves like the Go Lightly, but it is a fingering weight raglan just like the Hepburn. So if you wanted to make something like this, I would say combine those two patterns. That's easy, right? Anybody can do that. But one of the things I love about this, and I don't know how well you can see it, but it's kind of the art piece function of where the color pools sometimes. It's easier to see in real life, but I just love that. I didn't dye this yarn. This is from Kim Dye's yarn, but just the way that it kind of came out, I just love that. So I'm wearing this today. Let's move on to progress and shop news. So the shop is going to be on hold this week. I guess it's not closed. Like, you can go and view my shop. You can place any orders you want. They will not ship out until March 18th when we are all done vacationing. I essentially have a week of vacation. My husband and I are getting a cabin in the woods for a few days. And then my friends and I are going to Florida for a few days. And my oldest daughter is home too. So it's a lot of stuff going on over here. But the shop is open, but you can't really get anything shipped to you until the 18th. So also there will not be a podcast next week. So I'll see you in 2 weeks after this. March's color of the month. Where is it? Oh, here it is. March's color of the month is available. You guys loved it. I was so happy because I leaned full on into St. Patrick's Day and green. It's just full on St. Patrick's Day. It does have some speckles in there. There's some Fontaine and Meadow. Fontaine and Meadow, I think, are the colors of speckles that we have in there. So I wanted to show you some of the things that this looks really good with. I have some skeins of Tidewater available in DK. There might be one in fingering weight too, I'm not exactly sure. But Tidewater is a great choice, which is very similar to Frost. I know, they look the same. In real life, they look a little bit different. Frost is a little more turquoisey, and it's a little bit lighter than Tidewater, which is more of a eucalyptus. If you want the Tidewaters, go get them. There's no picture on the website, but this is it anyway. It looks really good with Fathom. There it is, Fathom and March and Tidewater. Here is Meadow. Oh my gosh, that is so pretty. I love that. I love this very fresh green combination. There's Beryl with March and Meadow. That's super pretty. And there's others too. Would look good with Fontaine, with that speckle. But I just wanted to show you that. If you want to get March, go grab it now. It is available. There's also a few other months that are still available. December, because I dyed a million. And there's a little bit of February and January too. So go get those if you're interested. The Sock Club, I wanted to talk about that. That's going to ship March 18th also. God willing, it will ship. I had a couple of skeins that I needed to re-dye, and I re-dyed them, and hopefully everything will go together like clockwork and it will all ship out on March 18th. I have a new plan for the sock club. Previously, what I was doing was when I had a cancellation, I would put that up on the website on Saturdays. The problem with that is that it kind of messed up the billing a little. So what I'm going to be doing from here on out, if you are a member of the sock club and you want to cancel, you can email me and I can cancel you very easily. It's very easy for me to do. I don't know how easy it is for you to do it. Maybe it's not easy because I do get emails here and there where people want to cancel. But it's very easy for me. So I can cancel you. And then what I'll do is if you are not a member of the League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters and you want to be a member, those listings will go up on the 2nd of the month at noon, whatever day of the week that is. That way, the billing will be simpler to deal with, and you'll just get billed that day, and then it will continue to bill you every month, and then you'll get your sock box. So just to recap, if you want to be a member of the sock club, check the website on the 2nd of each month, starting in April at noon, and that's when those listings for people who had canceled, that's when they will go up. So you'll be able to join if you want to. And you get access to the Facebook group, which is really fun. Emily does such a good job managing the Facebook group. And if you ever have any trouble, because Facebook is Facebook, they're rather draconian. If you ever have any trouble, feel free to email me and I can reach out to Emily and we can get it all fixed. So that is the sock club. But yeah, it's been a crazy week around here, you guys. It's been crazy. I've been, getting ready to go out of town. So it's been a lot, but I did get some knitting done. Last week, I showed you my flutter butt shirt where I had cast on for the extra large size, figuring that I wanted 5 inches of ease. And what I showed you last week, it was just a little bit of knitting, but I thought this is going to be too big. And then when I add the ruffle, it's going to be even more. So as I was editing last week's podcast, I pulled that out and I recast on for the large size. Not to correct the math, because the math was fine. The problem was just that I had budgeted in 5 inches of positive ease, and I'm like, that's just gonna be too much. So this takes it down to about 1 inch of positive ease, according to my gauge switcheroo worksheet. When I originally did it for the large size, that gives me a full bust measurement for the finished garment at 36 inches. That also put me in the ballpark of only needing 2 skeins. So I got pretty far. As you know, with a bottom-up sweater, I'm in the super floppy stage where it's just pure flop. And I haven't steamed it or done anything really to make it look good. So we've got the below the armhole there, and I knit up the back, and I have the back done. So this is bound off, this is the neck, and then these are on my needle. And this makes me nervous having these live stitches on this really long needle, because you know how that is, where it gets caught in something and you walk away and it pulls it all out. So I need to get some stitch stoppers to put on there so that I can rest easy. But the back looks pretty good. You can see many of you I know are using the orchid colorway. It's got the speckles and the slubs, and I just love it. And of course, it's too small, obviously, because we need the ruffle at the bottom to make the bottom. And then this is the front, and I am only this far on the front. Now, one thing I did want to say is that the pattern calls for a US 8 needle for the body of the sweater. And then it's hard to see with the slub and everything, but this is ribbed right here. This whole top part is like 3/4 of an inch of ribbing. And it calls for you to go down 2 needle sizes from a US 8 to a US 6. But of course, I'm working my whole sweater on a US 5. So I did decide to go down the 2 needle sizes to do the ribbing. And I think that was a good choice because it's still pretty open. Again, I'm a loose knitter, and with the slub, it just comes out a little bit looser. At least it does for me. So I'm very happy with it. Gonna be taking this on my trips, and hopefully I will get a lot done. Wouldn't it be great if next time I see you in 2 weeks, I am wearing this top. That would be amazing. That is my hope. I'm sure we can make that happen in 2 weeks for sure. Maybe I'll even be wearing the green one, which is what I'm going to make after I'm done with this one. And that gives us plenty of time. We have a full, I think it's like 7 weeks of the knit along. Started March 1st, goes through April 19th. So that's about 7 weeks. It's mainly Lent, pretty much. But yeah, so I plan to do the things that Lori suggested, where the starting point of the ruffles is at the narrowest part of the waist. So for me, you know, it's around the belly button. It should be around the belly button, and then the ruffle will go out from there. I'll probably lengthen my ruffle a little bit like Lori did. I'll knit it as long as I need it to be. Also, she did 2 increase rows in the ruffle, and I'm definitely going to do that. I love that idea. More ruffly is good. How is yours coming along? Some of you guys are like so fast. You just knit like crazy and you get the thing done so fast. It's been amazing to see that on Instagram. And speaking of seeing things on Instagram, I have been a little remiss on my In the Wild segment. And it's not for lack of you guys sending me pictures or me seeing them on Instagram. Just sometimes I just blank on it and I totally forget. But I definitely wanted to show you Carol. This is Carol. First of all, Carol, you are adorable. I love everything about this picture. Carol made a diggory tee using the Knitty McPurly Advent Calendar from 2024. It is so good. I love everything about this picture. She did such a good job on her diggory. I love it so much. Beautiful. And she had some left over. That's not all 25 colors. And I feel like she told me, and I don't remember, but she did have to omit some of the colors or perhaps some of the yarn. I'm not exactly sure how she did it, but it looks amazing. Great job, Carol. Now, this picture was sent to me by Kathy. This is a ranunculus sweater made in Valentine, holding Frankfurt fingering and Munich mohair together. And it is so beautiful. Kathy made this around Christmas time and she sent it to me, and I have just now climbed out of the sand hole and been able to show it to you. It's so beautiful. She did such a good job. This was one of the most amazing things about being at the knitting retreat, to see so much Knitty McPurly yarn and patterns walking around. It was just so cool for me. This one I plucked off of Instagram this morning. This is Wendy's Go Lightly sweater made in Dresden DK in the Morel colorway. I remember dyeing this yarn and scanning it up and sending it to Wendy and just writing on her little packing slip, this is going to be amazing. Morel is such a great color, and in the Dresden DK with this basic, classy sweater silhouette, it just looks so beautiful. Wendy, amazing job. Way to finish it. I saw it in progress at the retreat. Way to finish it. Now, speaking of people who knit like the wind, Amy, who is the Knitting Wanderer over on Instagram, has finished, what is the day today? It is the 8th of March. She has finished her March League of Extraordinary Sock Knitters socks, which is the Just Add Mohair socks by Summer Lee from her book. And I love how she did them with kind of the stripes being opposite each other. She did the 2 shades of pink. So this yarn was a fingering weight and a mohair held together in the dark pink and the light pink, and they just look so good. I love them. They would be beautiful matching, but I love them even more not matching. Amy is an amazing knitter and a fast knitter. Wow. Super good. Okay, let's move on to the comments section. Elizabeth says, your gauge switcheroo worksheet is amazing. I have used it and recommended it a bunch of times. Thank you so much. Now, you should know I did not come up with this math. I don't have like original math skills. I don't have that. This was given to me by Lisa from the Old Orcut Yarnery. Hi, Lisa. She's the one who gave me this formula, and all I did was turn it into a worksheet. So I'm very glad to be able to provide that to the community because it is something we want to do. We want to use our own gauge. We want to use our own yarn. And if you can use this great thing of size inclusivity where we have all these sizes, it gives us so much more leeway to make changes to the pattern because you can just knit a different size of the pattern with your gauge. Nick Knits says, Andrea Mowry is doing her March to May knit along. Hence, her older patterns are finding their way back to the top, although she does tend to stay at the top because she's talented and amazing. No argument there. She is definitely both of those things. She said, I just swatched for the Hay Sailor and my swatch has me so excited to get this cast on. Yes, I super want to make the Hay Sailor. I totally plan to make that when I am done with my flutter butts. I think we need a knit along. Do we need another knit along? I'm pretty sure we do. Maybe we should start it on April 20th. As soon as this one ends, we start another one. We'll do the Hay Sailor. We'll do some kits in the Fiji fingering for sure, because it's half cotton, half merino. It is perfect for summer. I can wear my Fiji fingering short sleeve tops all summer long and I'm not hot. It is a great yarn for that. So I think we should start the Hay Sailor knit along soon after this. I think, going to omit that little cap sleeve though, because it just feels out of place to me. I feel like it should just be ripping. That's just me. Let me know what you think. Oklahoma, Texas Sheep Lady said, Lori's story of washing gone awry reminded me of two such instances. The first was when my cousin, who was attending university in our town and would take advantage of our laundry and my mother's great home cooking on weekends. Well, one Saturday while we were out, he decided he would help. He put my father's week of work shirts, of white dress shirts, and my mother's red wool sweater together in the washing machine. Oh man. The shirts were a lovely shade of pink when we arrived home, thankfully before he put them all in the dryer. Who has not had this happen? All of Dad's underwear have to get dyed pink at least once in his life. Like that has to happen at least once. And there it is. All your underwear is now pink. Of course, white dress shirts is something different. Did it come out? Did the dye come out? Because you said before you put it in the dryer, were you able to rewash it and get the dye out? I'd be interested to hear that. She says, the second story was my doing. One day I was washing while very upset about something. I no longer remember what. I was horrified when I pulled the clothes out of the washer to find my husband's favorite wool cardigan in the load. He was 6'2" and the sweater had shrunk lengthwise drastically. We gave the sweater to a friend who was closer to 5'8" because it fit him. The moral is, don't do laundry when absent-minded. True that. Darlene said, hi, Devin. Hi, Darlene. Thank you for your podcast. I cracked up when you said the cast on with the slub yarn for the flutterbutt shirt is tricky, but it gets easier as you start the rounds. I almost stopped the project halfway through the cast on, thinking some rotten words and feeling defeated with only 60 stitches cast on. Same. And I cast on twice. I was trying to think if I had done it any more than twice. I cast on for my swatch too. And you're like, because you keep catching on the slubs, but persevere, my friends, persevere, because it's only the cast on that's hard. The knitting is not hard. She says, I thought I was an experienced knitter, so I persevered, and I'm so happy I did. Whew! I'm now whizzing through the rows. I'm enjoying the process and the yarn now. Looking forward to owning this little gem of a shirt. Thank you for highlighting it on your podcast and inviting us to be a part of it. P.S. I might have to get those cute jeans too. We need pictures of people in their cute flutterbutt outfits when they exist. Deborah says, hi, my granddaughter, who is 13, started doing her own laundry, and she has the white Nike socks. All of Gen Z has the white Nike socks. It is just what they do. She decided to wash them, and when the load came out, the socks were pink, and we found that there was a ball of pink cotton yarn in there, and she was terribly upset. We tried everything to get the pink out, but they still remained a little pink, and she's now back to doing her own laundry. That's awesome. Sometimes the kids buy them pink on purpose. So now, Oklahoma, Texas sheep lady double dipped with this question, and I don't know the answer, but I have faith in this community. You guys know the answer. So if you know, leave it in the comments. She said, "Your cast on reminded me of a question I had last week. I was trying to knit a hat using magic loop with a long circular needle. I am sure that the first few rows were smooth with no twist. But about row 6 or so, there was suddenly a twist with no obvious crossover of yarn. I pulled out the needle and cast on again, but using 2 shorter cables. This also became twisted after several rows despite my checking every round. Finally, I went to 4 double points and successfully knit the hat. Any ideas as to how I managed to develop the twists would be greatly appreciated." I have no idea. This has never happened to me, but I am crazy with the twist. So, because I know my mom is watching and maybe some newer knitters are watching, I will explain. When you knit in the round, you've got your cast on and you have to join it in the round. You have to be sure that there is no twist in there, that the stitches have twisted themselves. Because if they do, you will knit a Mobius. You cannot come back from this. Whenever I'm teaching knitting, I'm like, kids, if you knit twisted, you're knitting twisted. You can't come back from it. So you have to be very careful that that string of stitches is all straight and nothing is twisted. So I am crazy, but it sounds like you were crazy too, and you still got a twist. However, I don't usually do magic loop because that's just a little too unsure for me. Like I feel like a twist could sneak in there and I wouldn't know it. But you also said you used with 2 shorter cables. I don't know. I have done it with socks on two needles. And I've not had that happen. So any insight into this, please direct it in the comments to Oklahoma, Texas sheep lady, and we will revisit it again next week. Okay. So this episode has to be a little shorter than my past few episodes because they have been creeping up into the 50-minute realm. And my daughter is here, so I need to go spend time with her. So I am going to be cutting it just a little bit short today. All I want to say for my very brief knitting fantasies segment is that I want to knit the Hey Sailor. I just love it so much. Andrea Mowry has tons of great patterns. She's a wonderful, wonderful pattern writer, very talented, very hardworking. She has lots of great short sleeve tops, and I like a lot of them. I am very much particularly interested in the Hey Sailor. So let me know. What do you think? April 20th for a knit along? Should we start then? I feel like that's when we should start. All right, moving right along so here's what happened. I need some more stories. I have a couple queued up, but when I run out, I run out. So if you have a knitting story, heartwarming, tragic, hilarious, send it to me. Devin with an I at KnittyMcPurly.com, and I would love to share it on the podcast. Today's story comes from Lisa of the Old Orcut Yarnery. Here we are. I'm talking about you twice in one episode, Lisa. That's crazy. She sent me this story a few weeks ago, and she sent, I think I have a couple pictures too, so I'll put those up as we go. She says, "Hi, Devin. Here is my knitting story about my non-knitworthy husband and why. I'll start off by saying that I love my husband. I love mine too. I totally get it. His name is David. He is an amazing man, and we've been married 45 years this May. We met in high school when I was 15 and he was 16. We got married at 18, and here we are so many years later. We have 2 grown married kids and 3 grandkids, ages 23, 21, and 12. Story number 1. My husband used to have to dress up for work pre-COVID, shirt and tie every day. He has an amazing tie collection and really liked to have fun socks too. So several years ago, I decided to knit him a pair of socks. First mistake perhaps is that he did not ask for them, but I thought for sure that he would love them. So I chose some amazing yarn and made him stand on a piece of cardboard so I could have a template of his foot, and I started knitting. I typically prefer cuff down socks, so that's what I did. I knit the cuff and the leg, measuring a pair of his socks in his drawer to estimate the leg length. Went on to the heel and foot using my template to make sure that the foot was the right length. I felt so smart. When they were done, I proudly presented them to him. He tried them on and kind of made a face that indicated that something wasn't right. It turns out that he wanted a longer leg. Did I mention that I knit these cuff down? So I thought I could cut off the cuff, knit a new cuff as if I'm doing them toe up, and all would be well. I finished, adding a couple of inches to the leg for him and did a fancy sewn bind off to make them extra nice. But when he tried them on again, he didn't seem happy. Apparently, my bind off at the cuff, did I mention that I usually do cuff down socks, was a bit tight. So I took the bind off out. Not an easy thing with a sewn bind off, and I tried again a bit more loosely. He declared them fine and went on with life. I made him a pair of Christmas socks too that he wears literally one time a year. Years later, when I asked him why he never wore the socks I made, he said, "I don't like hand knit socks. I just like regular socks." Sheesh. Story number 2. In all of the nearly 50 years I've known this man, he has never worn hats. He always insists he doesn't look good in hats. He doesn't like hats. He doesn't ever want a hat, etc., etc. No baseball caps, no beanies, no hats, period. Fast forward several years. He currently goes out for a 3-mile walk every morning, and it's a little chilly even though we are on the central coast of California. It's chilly to us. I should mention here that before he leaves on his walk each morning, he brings me a cup of coffee in bed. While he is out walking, I'm cozy in my bed, drinking coffee and knitting, and probably watching Knitty McPurly podcasts. Aw, thanks, Lisa. One morning, he comes home from his walk and tells me, "It's cold out there. I think I'd like for you to make me a hat. Could you do that?" Of course, I'm thinking. Who are you and what have you done with my husband? I'm still feeling a little bit of PTSD from the sock situation, but he seems sincere. So I talk to him about hat style and color. I bring home some yarns from my shop that I think he'll like so he can pick out what he wants. And I knit him a hat exactly to his specifications. I get it finished and blocked. He tries it on and it fits perfectly. He says he loves it. Success! The next morning, he goes out for his walk with the hat on. It looks great. He talks about how nice it feels and how nice and warm he will be. When he comes back from his walk, there is no hat on his head. Where's your hat?" He says, "Oh, it's in my pocket. It got too hot." This goes on for several days. Finally, he tells me, "I don't like to wear a hat. I'll just use the hoodie on my sweatshirt. My head gets too hot with a hat on it." Are you kidding me? I used to have these strange ideas that one day I'd make him a sweater. Nope, not happening, not in this lifetime. So after many years, I've determined that my husband, although wonderful, is not knitworthy at all. He won't be able to fool me again into making him something. Not happening. No way, no how, not gonna do it. One of the things that has worked for us over all these years is this. When he does something frustrating or maddening, I usually tell him, "It's a good thing you're so cute, or I'd be hurting you right now." Every so often, when he knows he's done or said something wrong, he'll say, "It's a good thing I'm so cute, right?" Sometimes I tell him yes. Other times I tell him, "I'm not really feeling that right now." Moral of the story, not all good husbands are knitworthy, but I suppose that doesn't make them all bad, right? I'm attaching a photo of us from December of 2024. We were out to dinner for my birthday. I don't have any photo evidence of the socks or the hat. And I believe I also have one of them from high school. If I do, I will put that one up too. That is a great story, Lisa. And Lisa told it so well. Like that was so great. I totally get it. Not the first thing I knit for my husband. I knit him hats before. But again, he'll wear hats now. Back in the day, he wore them a little bit less. But one of the first pairs of socks that I knit were for my husband. It was out of that Regia yarn that when you knit, it forms that pattern, and you start at a certain place and it makes two identical socks with this cool pattern on it. It looks like you tried really hard, but really you just knit the yarn. And they were the Regia super heavy duty sock yarn. Luckily, my husband, he hated the socks. As I was knitting them, he was like, "Are you going to put elastic in them?" And I was like, "Do your socks have elastic in them?" No, knit fabric just is stretchy, so you make them with negative ease and they fit tightly, which of course, maybe all men don't understand. I don't know. I think it's just a man thing not to understand that. But I think maybe put them on one time and never wore them. But luckily I have gigantic feet, so I wear them sometimes. But yeah, no, my husband is also fairly non-knitworthy, but it's okay. We love him anyway. Our anniversary is actually coming up, 23 years for us this year. Oh, and I wanted to tell you about the drama in my life. So if you were here for the knitting, I'll just let you know that part is over, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye, regular knitters, drama seekers who want to find out what my life has been like for the past week. Honestly, it's just been getting ready to go out of town. I'm losing a week of work, and so I had to work really hard this week to do 2 weeks of work in 1 week. So my dog, Rocky, who was born blind, he has epilepsy, and he's just kind of always had it. He's a purebred dog, and for whatever reason, these dogs are more prone to seizures. He takes medicine every day for it. That's not hard to give. It's very easy. It's not expensive. It's just easy to deal with. So Thursday night, my husband and I go to bed at a reasonable hour because we're adults, like 8:30. We go to bed early because we get up early. And we're in bed, we're asleep, and the dog sleeps on the floor next to our bed. And my husband woke up, I didn't, to Rocky having a seizure. Now, when he has a seizure, he's foaming at the mouth, he loses control of his bowels. It is a production. Not everybody. He and I have to get up. He has to go wash the dog. I have to clean the carpets and the dog bed and all that. So we do that. My husband's awake at this point. So he and Rocky go downstairs and they're going to sleep on the couch. So 10 o'clock, my husband comes, that happened at 10, 11 o'clock. My husband comes running back up. He's having another seizure. So this goes on all night. And then the next day, and by the morning, he's had 3 seizures by the morning. So really felt like all night, but really it happened 3 times. So the next morning we're going, to the car dealership to look at a car because I've got a kid who's about to be driving. And so we're there for the morning, and we come home and we see evidence of at least 2 more seizures that happened while we were at the car dealership. So I'm like, okay, I got to call the vet. I go out for a walk, and I called the vet, but they were at lunch. So I go out for my walk, and my husband calls me, Rocky's had another seizure. So we're up to about 6, at least 6 at this point. So I call the vet, and they're like, you need to go to the emergency vet. Who knew that this was a thing? There's a 24-hour emergency vet, which is not near my house, but is actually very close to my kids' school. And it's like an hour before we have to go pick them up from school. So my husband and my homeschooler and the dog and I all pile into the car. We take him over to the emergency vet. This has a good ending, don't worry. And so then my husband goes and gets the kids, and we check the dog in, and it's like an ER for dogs. So they check him in, they get him an IV in him, and they give him, and while we're there, he has another seizure. So they give him all this medicine to make his brain not swell, which apparently happens with the seizures. And then he ends up staying overnight, which, you know, they presented us with this option to have him stay for 24 hours. And we're like, no, we can't afford the 24-hour dog hospital stay. So we chose the 12-hour option, meaning we had to pick him up at 4 o'clock this morning. So we got up at 3. I've been up since 3. And we went and picked him up this morning, and he's much better. He's kind of bumping into things and wandering around the house, and he's weird, but he's not seizing anymore. And apparently he just has epilepsy, and he had a cluster of seizures. But their brains can swell when that happens, and so they give him all this medicine to help that. So anyway, it's been a lot of stuff over the past 24 hours. And in that moment, my daughter's coming home from college, and so yeah, it was just a crazy last 48 hours. And my husband and I are going out of town tomorrow, so it's a lot of craziness. Anyway, all's well that ends well. I'm going to miss you guys next weekend, but I'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully with lots of knitting to show. And I hope you have a great, great 2 weeks and beautiful weather and the time change and more sun and just yes. All right. Bye, knitters.